Welcome to Click to Startup, an entrepreneurial video series where we invite subject matter mentors to answer our most frequently asked questions from startup founders and small business owners via quick and easy how-to videos. My name is Jillian Bradley, and I'm the program coordinator for Opportunity Machine, Lafayette Center for Entrepreneurs. If you would like to submit a question on an entrepreneurial topic to be answered in an upcoming video, please email us at hello@opportunitymachine.org. Today's speaker is Lauren Titus. She's here to tell us more about the business plan and what to keep in mind when creating one. Lauren is a business consultant at the Louisiana Small Business Development Center at UL Lafayette. With a background in banking and marketing, she specializes in business startups, access to capital, and marketing plans. Welcome, Lauren.
Thank you, Jillian. Hi, everyone. I'm so excited to be a part of this series. I'm looking forward to helping you with your business plan and helping you plan out early. So I'm hoping those of you that are watching are very early in your business process, which means you've got an idea that you're looking at creating a business or you've just started and you need a business plan to help you plan your future. Next slide. So guys, this is what we're looking at today, creating your business plan. First, we're going to start off with what is a plan? Because a lot of us have a different idea of what a business plan is, and it can seem overwhelming at first, especially as you're starting your business. There's a lot to do, and then someone may mention to you in passing, oh, well, you should write your business plan. So let's all start on the same page. We're going to have a working definition for this presentation. Then I'm going to put into why are you writing one? Because I'm hoping to convince you to write yours as we go through the presentation and kind of show you why it's valuable to you to do. And then we're going to go over how to get started. What am I putting into this plan? What am I considering as I move forward? Next slide. So what is a business plan? So for today's purpose, guys, your business plan is a tool that's going to be used by you to map out your goals and your success. That's all a business plan is. It's just a tool. So for those of you who have visions of this big, large document, this bound book, this very formal plan, it doesn't have to be. It's just a tool. It's a tool for you to use in order to move yourself forward as you start your business. Next slide. So why am I writing this plan? I'm hoping this is pretty simple, and I'm hoping you go along with me on this. So we are writing a plan to verify feasibility. This has got to be a question in almost everyone's mind as they start their business or if they have a business idea. They're like, is this going to make it? Is this feasible? Is it logical? Does it make sense? And that's what this plan is meant to be used for. This is for you. This is your tool. This is for you to break out that idea that's in your head and put it onto paper. So when I'm looking at a business plan, it doesn't have to be shared with everyone, especially your first draft, by the way. The business plan we'll be working on today is meant for you. And it's meant, again, for us to shake out that vision that's in our head and get it down on paper. But some of you may have been requested to write a business plan. So for those of you who are writing it maybe for funders, maybe for our partners and managers, you're going to write that version later. Today, we're just focusing on the basics of the business plan and what we're going to use it for. So our business plan is our tool, and we're using it to identify the feasibility of our idea. Next slide. So how do I get started? I moved you guys pretty quickly. I'm trying to really convince you to go along with me on this journey. So we know that it's a tool. And for most of you in your head, you're thinking of this very formal document. And for most people, you're going to be writing a plan either on, you can use a pad and pen, you can use a Word doc, you can use the Notes app on your cell phone. You can use anything at all that you would like to do. You can write your business plan in all different ways. You can draw it out if you're a more of a visual business planner or a more visual person. You can draw it out. But the purpose of the plan is that you can refer back to it and that you will be growing. So put it somewhere where you will be able to refer back to it and look at the notes and look at your thoughts. So today I have broken down the business plan. So if you look up right now on Google, business plan templates, there will be a million. And some business plan outlines are better for funding, some are better per industry. Some allow my more visual people to draw out their plan, but primarily what I broke down today were the sections that are going to help you Analyze your business idea before moving forward. Again, I'm hoping I caught you right before you started your business or right as we're starting. That way you can identify maybe some gray areas, maybe some red flags, or maybe some things that don't make sense. Everybody that has a business idea in their head, it's beautiful and it's perfect and it's meeting the needs that you have. And as we all know, things sound better in our head than sometimes happens in reality. So we're breaking down that business idea into reality. And we're going to start with these sections. And I'm saying sections. The business plan has sections because we're referring back and focusing on each individual area of our business to be sure that it makes sense. So keep it in sections. That way you can refer back and you can focus just on that area of business. And then you're going to pull back and look at your business plan as a whole to be sure that everything works together. And you're going to see that as we work through it, how that makes sense. Next slide. So we're going to start with your concept. This is, if you do nothing else, I want you to just do this. If you do no more of the business planning process, it's important for us to shake out that concept that's in our head and put it down onto paper. Again, the business plan is a process. Mainly it's a process. It's an exercise. So physically write out or type out, what is my business idea? Whatever it is. And then I want you to go back and refine it. I want you to make it as simple as possible. I want you to say it out loud, and I want it to make sense to not only you, who may be very industry focused, but to someone else with no idea what you're doing, probably a child. It's best to break it down in terms for a child. There's many reasons to do this, but one is if you can't explain your business, you can't sell your business. So this is a process. What is my business? Let me write it out. Let me make sure it makes sense. So I've done that. On the next step is, who am I serving? You're going to include that in the description of your business, in your concept. If you're having troubles right here, you're like, who am I serving? Who am I serving? If you don't have anyone that you're serving or that you can serve consistently, you don't have a business. So it's good to stop here. If I have an idea to crochet hats for penguins, it's a hobby. It's a passion. I'm being facetious, but you can see how this isn't a business plan. Penguins can't purchase my products. I can't market to them. So it's more of a hobby. This isn't a sustainable business. So for you, if we're looking for a sustainable business, we need to be able to identify those people who we are serving very early on. And I don't want you to move past this process until you can identify them and say it very clearly. Next slide. Once we've got our concept down, we're going to move on over to the budget. So nobody likes this part. Everybody flinches when this comes up, but this is the second most important thing that I want you to put down. Right now, as of writing your business plan, I want you to go ahead and put down on that Word document, that page, the amount of money that you can put forward to this business today. For some of you, you may be growing a business organically. So you're like, you know what? I'm going to put X amount of my paycheck towards this business in the future. And that's wonderful. And you can put that here in the budget as well. If you have funds that are coming in that you're going to put towards the business, you can write it here. But I want you to write out that number. If it's $5, if it's 10 million, put it off to the side, because I want you to refer back to that number as we go through this plan. Because there are two parts of this business plan. One is the concept. One is being able to identify the steps and being able to clearly state what we're doing. But the second side is the budget, is how much is it going to cost me to start and to keep this business going. So it's very important that you break yourself of this early on. Bad habits have developed with business owners in the past where they flinched at this part and they didn't do it. And many of them have gone out of business because they were unable to sustain that business idea based on the funds that they had at hand. And it's not something that you have to go through. By identifying the budget early on, we can start planning. This is a planning purpose. We can start planning to either get funding from another source, or we're going to save up our little nest egg to go towards our business, but we're going to know exactly how much it's going to cost us to start this plan. Whether your business is very small and you're going to start it as a side venture, or you're looking to open a big shop, warehouse, service, it doesn't matter. Write out that number at the side. And I don't want you to flinch about it. This is all planning. We're not sharing this with anyone at this point. It's yours. Write it out. Next slide. So This is an easier section. I want you to bullet this section out. So just list very easily, very quickly, the products and services you want to offer. It's going to be easier if you bullet it out than rather than writing it in a sentence. That way you can refer back to it and be sure that everything makes sense, that you can refer back to that section very easily. Because as you go through the planning process, you may refer back to that section. You may cross out items that you don't want to serve or start at first, and we may include later on as our budget grows. Or you may decide to scrap some ideas because they don't make any fiscal sense. So just list out the products and services that we're going to offer in our business. Next slide. Then we get to the history of the organization. This business plan is baseline. I want you to write out, as of right now, what skill sets are you bringing to this business? So some of you may be starting a business that's been your passion. You really don't have any experience in that particular industry, but you do have skill sets that you can offer to this. One is passion, but another may be management skills, maybe accounting skills, maybe marketing skills. Whatever those skills are, I want you to list them out, because in this process, I want you to identify maybe some weaknesses that you have. And prior to starting the business, we can fill those weaknesses. You may say, oh, I'm not so great at accounting, and I know that's coming up. Great. I'm glad you're honest. Be very honest with yourself in this process. That's okay. There's plenty of free online training in accounting. You can start looking for a bookkeeper. You can start looking for classes to take to help you. You don't need to become an accountant, but you do need to understand the basics. So you can do that for yourself. Save yourself some time and stress by devoting some time towards building up those skills that you may need. Now, if you are starting out from a passion and have no experience in your industry, I would urge you to start researching your industry very well. You may have already done this because you're passionate about it, but I want you to go ahead, research that industry, see what's going on. If you identify any other areas, maybe management, maybe one that you're not strong on, because most of us start in a position, we do it very well, we love what we do, and then we're like, you know what? I don't have to work for somebody else. I can do this for myself. But there are other skills that we need to involve when we're a business owner, when we're moving and transitioning from that position to the entire business. So if you don't have any management skills, again, that's something else that you can go ahead and get some training on. Just wrap your head around it. I'm not saying to take 5 years to prepare for your business, so you can. I'm just saying I want you to cover some of those weaknesses and areas that may make you flinch early on. That way, as you're going and you start the business, you're not floundering and you're not stressing out about some areas that we could have prepared for. So highlight those skill sets in this section. Next slide. And then we get to marketing and sales. This section is one of the most, I'm going to say, most important sections that we have, and probably the least researched. Let me say that. I get a lot of people who come and they've got their business idea and they're in business and they never considered how they were going to meet their market. It's like it's in the back of their heads. They're like, oh yeah, well of course I'm going to have my logo and it's going to be branded out. Of course, my vehicle is going to be wrapped and I'm going to have my letterhead and everything. It's going to be beautiful. This is where we need to shake out that idea. And we need to identify, okay, who are we serving and how are we going to capture their attention for sales? When you're starting your business and if someone asks you who you're serving, who's your market, and you say everyone, you need to go back and research your market. We are in a global market now. That doesn't mean that you have to sell to a global market, and nor would I tell you as a small business owner to do so. I want you to focus your time and effort on those people who are going to purchase from you consistently. Within the Click to Startup series, there is a wonderful video on your target market. And it is worth your time and effort, if you are not a marketer, to research your market and to find out how to reach them. If you can reach your market in person, if all it's going to be is you're putting a logo on your shirt and you're driving around town and you're meeting in person with your business owner, that's something you should know versus you investing into billboards, investing into online ads. If I'm not going to reach them that way, if I can just go visit them and make the sales, then I need to anticipate that. And that way I can budget for that versus me trying to figure out how much I'm going to spend in ads that will never reach my target market. So spend time on this section. I want you to break it down. I want you to itemize how much it's going to cost for you to do this. If you're not a website developer, you don't have a graphic design background, you may want to hire someone to do your branding. So consider that. What's the budget for that? I want to wrap my vehicle. I'm a truck driver and it's important for me to wrap my truck. Great. How much does that cost? One for the creation of your logo and the next to wrap the vehicle. If you are looking at doing an online store and you know you're going to need to reach your customers through social media, you know you have to invest in ads. So right now, if you are not familiar with the process of creating ads, research it, but also look at how much you need to spend in those ads and how you're going to market your people through those ads. So I can go on and on. The marketing section is one of my favorites, but it's also a place where I want you to spend the most time. Really developing your concept, because you can really save a lot of money in marketing if you identify who that target market is early on without you floundering about and investing in all these different areas of marketing that may not be worth it to your target market. But again, I this side. We're going to have our budget to the side so I know exactly how much I need to invest in this business or how much I have to invest. And in the sections, each of my different sections, I'm going to itemize what I want and I'm going to find out the cost, real cost, guys, not just maybe 10,000. Don't do that to yourself. Put the exact amount, nickel and dime this process. Next slide. So the next section is our facilities, and this may be pretty easy for most of you because most of my business owners now are operating from home at first. But some of you are going to need a brick and mortar. You're going to need a factory, you're going to need a warehouse or a retail store or a restaurant. So I need you to say, where is my business going to be located? And if you're very early in the planning process, you may be saying, well, I just need a restaurant space. I need my kitchen. Great. We have caught you early enough. I want you to go out now. And if you do need a brick and mortar, this is the time within your planning to go out and find that location. You're there. You're ready to move on this business idea. Go out and start looking at real estate, because I want you to be able to identify the features that resonate with your marketing section. Because if we're looking at a brick and mortar and even an online store, we need to cater to our customers. So if I'm looking to cater to mothers and maybe they're dropping their kids off for a tutoring service or maybe even a daycare center, I need to find a safe space. Some space where my parents feel safe dropping off their kids. This wouldn't be down a dead end street where there's no lighting. No, that's not going to be catering to your market. So please consider who your market is and making sure that the building that you're finding meets those needs early on. I've heard horror stories, and it happens daily, where people are looking at the dollar amount only. They're like, I can make it work. I've got this space. I'm just going to make it work. And typically what happens is that it's not catering to their customers who are coming in. Therefore, the customers are turned off. If you are a stylist and you're cutting hair, and most of your most consistent clients actually happen to be gray-haired old ladies, I would urge you not to find an upstairs location. Don't do that to your customers. They can't make it upstairs. So be sure you're catering to them. Refer back to that marketing section and really put yourself in their shoes, because you may not be your target market. The people you're serving may not be anything like you personally. So be sure you put yourself in their shoes when you're finding that facility. You also are going to want to consider the costs associated to each different building that you may be looking at. Even your website. So if I'm operating from home and my clients have to go to a website to purchase my service or my product, I need to put some money into that website. If I'm not a website developer, I may choose to purchase the services, or I choose to learn how to do it on my own and set it up. Okay, well, that's going to take some time and some money, regardless, time and money. So let's plan it out. How much is it going to cost me? If you need construction done to the building in order for it to make code or just for it to meet your requirements for the building, you're going to call in a contractor right now, and you're going to have them walk through the building and give you an estimate of how much it's going to cost. That way, once we get close to opening our business, there's no surprises, or not as many surprises as we would have had we not done our homework. So call in that contractor, whatever they say, you're going to itemize it in this section. You're going to say, I need X, Y, and Z, and so my facilities will cost me X. Next slide. Then we move on to operations. So under my operations section, I just put who is needed to operate this business. For some of you, you may be solopreneurs, and it may just be you. So you are it. But for those of you who need to hire right out the gate, my restaurants, my daycares, anyone where you're dependent upon employees coming in for the business to function properly, you need to start identifying who it is you need to hire, what their roles are, so you can start working on their business, their descriptions. But two, I need you to itemize how much it's going to cost you to hire these folks. So if I'm looking for professionals, those are typically people that may be making 60,000. So I need to refer back to my budget that I've been creating. I need to input it in there. That way I can see if I can open this business properly. Because if I've got a team of people, I want to hire a CFO, a CEO, I want to hire everybody out the gate, but I've only got $5 in my pocket. We need to go back to our concept and realign it to what is fiscally possible at this time. They both need to make sense. So write out who you need. Also look up, if you're not familiar with how much they need to be paid, look up right now how much those roles are needed to be paid, and also look up any extras. So we know that we're going to need to do payroll tax. We know we're going to need to do our disability insurance possibly. So look up everything that you need in order to hire someone and what those additional costs will be, and write them out. This isn't set in stone. None of this is set in stone. As you can see, we can refer back to our sections before. We can change it. Typically, by the time we get to this section, we can look back through our plan and say, does it all make sense? Does my building make sense with the people I want to hire? Do they all have space? What's my capacity in that facility? Is it going to lend itself to my business and it growing? At what point do I need to hire someone if I'm a solopreneur? And how can I make that transition as easy as possible? So we're going to be using this plan and going back through the sections over and over and over again until we get to a place where we can plan for funding. We know that we've got enough in our pocket to either start, or we know where we're going to go to get the funding. We know exactly how much we need, and we know all of the steps in each of these different areas to get started. That is the value of the business plan, and you have it at hand. And you've done the exercise. You know exactly what you need to do to get started. And there's a lot of stress taken out and anxiety taken out once you have it down of what you need to do. As you grow and as your business takes off, you're going to use this plan over and over and over again. It's going to grow and change. And you're going to continue because things are going to change. Pandemics may come and you may need to alter what you're doing. Maybe your industry is going out. Maybe people are no longer reading print books and I want to open my bookstore. So maybe I need to look back at my concept and maybe alter it to fit the new needs of my customers or find new customers. You're going to always need to refer back to it. And having this plan as you get started will help you work on your business as you grow, because you're going to start, once your business takes off, you're going to have very little time, especially to plan. And so if you've got this basis, this business plan that started with you prior to you opening, and you continue to work on it, you continue to focus your efforts, it's just going to make that business that much stronger and that much more focused. So I'm urging you to write that next step on next slide. So the outline that I just gave you is the basis of your business plan. That's it. That's the basis of the business plans. Those are considerations you need to make. It's deceptively simple, right? Because at first you're looking at this outline and you're saying, wow, this looks great. I can do all this in an afternoon. And then once I added in that we need to budget all of these items, and now we need to make sure that the pieces of my business all fit together, then you're saying, oh, it's probably going to take me a little bit more time, which is good. Just take a little bit of time to work on the business before you start it. It is worth your time and effort. As your business grows, you can add on things into this business plan, make it your own. This business plan is not to be shared. You don't have to share it with anybody. It's really meant for you to work out within your head. So you can add in things such as dates. When do I want to start this business? You can hold yourself accountable. When do I want to have hired these people? At what point do I plan to purchase this building? At what time do I plan to get everyone to come in and look at my building to be sure that it meets code? Whatever it is that you need, you can add into the plan. It is yours. You can put your sales goals in there, which I would urge you to do. I like to have numbers in the business plan because that brings the plan into reality, and it really motivates you in sales and making sure that you meet those goals. And growth plans. Again, I kind of threw that in with the dates, but if we're looking at growth, if we know the capacity of, say, my house, let's just say, and typically my growth plans refer back to your space. So if I'm working from home, I have an online boutique, and I know that I'm using my second bedroom to store my product. Whenever I have too much product and it starts to creep into my living room, maybe creep onto my kitchen table, that may be a time for me to look for space, whether I'm renting space just to store my products, or at that point, maybe I'm interested in my own office space. That's up for you to decide, but you can put a date and you can put your growth plan in there. That once I fill up that second bedroom, once I'm consistently moving and I'm growing, at that point, I want to go where? Figure this out beforehand. That way you're not gray-haired, anxious, and stressed to the max when you have to make these big decisions. Try to anticipate these decisions as much as possible and plan it out for yourself. It's a kindness to yourself to plan it out, trust me. Next slide. And that is it, guys. I'm hoping today I presented you and convinced you to look at the business plan, to write it for yourself, to go through the exercise, and really get a hold on what your plans are. Thank you so much, Jillian, for having me.
Lauren, thank you for sharing this information with us today. As a reminder, if you have any questions about this presentation or you'd like to request a topic to be included in this series, please contact us at hello@opportunitymachine.org. We hope you enjoyed today's topic on Click to Startup.